Hey, what's everybody? Luke Bouman here. I'm going to try this again, see if I can get Jason Jenkins to join us. As you know, I'm a real estate agent in West Michigan, team leader of Luke Bouman Real Estate Team. And wanted to start sharing some information just because there's so much information out there, and there's a lot of real estate agents out there. So I think it's just good to share some knowledge about what I know, what's going on in West Michigan, and most importantly, how I can be of assistance. So going to try to get Jason Jenkins to join me on the camera, and it looks like it can do it. What we're going to be talking about today is 5 common home selling mistakes to avoid. Jason.
I'm here, buddy.
Jason Jenkins. Look at the red. We're recording the red.
I got the memo.
You got to spin your camera because you're sideways. So why don't you quickly introduce yourself, who you are, what you do.
I'm Jason Jenkins. I'm with Union Home Mortgage. Been doing mortgage loans for 20 plus years now. And this is the first time I've ever done Facebook Live, so I'm pumped up.
Yeah, we do a radio show every week. This is kind of what we do. We pick a topic and we kind of discuss a few things. You kind of got that glow of an angel right now. That's a little bit better now. But yeah, I wanted to talk just because there's so much information out there right now. And what I wanted to do kind of probably every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, is just share some information and help our audience going through buying or selling. Or if you guys have friends or family members who are considering buying, I'd love for you guys to share this video, because tonight we're going to be talking about just the home selling and kind of the benefits of working with us, but really mistakes to avoid. So yeah, Jason, got anything to say before we start?
No, just bring on the questions. We'll try to get an answer for it, and happy to be here.
So mistake number 1 is padding your price too high. And you've probably seen that in this real estate market. And you talked about that on the show before. The a home in your neighborhood where they just priced it so high and didn't do the right things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, we had a house this summer that listed at extremely high, and then went through 2 different realtors, tried it for sale by owner, and then they gave up and ended up renting it out, actually.
And that's what I see a lot of sellers that I meet with. We meet with them and we give them a price, and they say, "Oh, that leaves us no room for negotiation." But I found if you guys price the home right the first time, you're actually much more likely to get a higher price in the long run. Because what happens is you price it right, you got this pool of buyers waiting for the next new listing, and you have kind of that one chance to be it. And what happens is they get excited when the price is right. And when the price is right, you get a lot more people going through and much more likely of offers going up, higher offers. When you price a little bit too high, even though, a lot of sellers like to pad it, and that's not uncommon, but if you pad it too much, you're going to get buyers who aren't as excited. You're not going to get as many multiple offers. You're not going to get potentially any offers at all. And now once home's been sitting on the market for like 2 weeks, the buyers are starting wondering, hey, what's wrong with this property? It hasn't sold in 2 weeks. And now you're trying to catch up on the market. You agree with that?
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Yes.
So that's the first thing you want to avoid is pricing your home too high, and that's something where meeting with a professional realtor is good. I think it's good to get a couple opinions, but to be honest, like today I went, I was competing against 3 or 4 people for a listing, and I just gave them their price, and they said, well, there were a couple other people who said 10 to 15 higher, and I said, to be honest, there's agents in this market who are in a sense buying the listing because they're pricing it to really impress the seller that, hey, we can get a high price for it. But in the end, they're just taking the listing, getting that listing, and then they're telling the seller a week later saying, hey, we priced this home too high. And then at least they got the listing. They got the listing from me. So it's hard in this market. There's so many agents, and you're competing against so many people. It's like, agents are just throwing out these crazy numbers because the market's been strong. But as the market's starting to slow down, we're still having, we're having pricing reductions right now. You're probably seeing that around your neighborhood, aren't you?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that. And then I think that puts a negative taint on the house. So then you get into the thought process, excuse me, as a buyer, where you're like, whoa, why is this house going down in price? What happened? And then we're seeing multiple price reductions. Not just one. You'll go one at 2 weeks, and 3 weeks later, do another one. And I just think that puts a negative taint, right or wrong, but from the home buyer's standpoint, I think that's definitely something to consider because when you go in too high just to get it, and then you could be costing your home seller money.
Right, and that's where a mistake to avoid is maybe saying don't just list with the agent who tells you the highest price.
Right, I would agree.
The most money, in case most times it doesn't. The tip number 2, a selling mistake to avoid is don't look just at neighboring homes as far as what their asking price is. And what they mean by that is that a lot of people will say, hey, my neighbor's home is listed at 200. You just told me to list at 180, or my neighbor's home is listed at 250 and you're telling me to list at 180. The thing is about what you got. The thing with homes that are active is anybody can list their home high, but what we really like to look at is what homes are actually selling for and what homes are, in a sense, are pending at. And there's a lot of sellers who say, well, my neighbor's home is listed at 250. Well, the problem is it's been on the market for 6 months. It's had 3 price reductions. The pictures look terrible, and it hasn't sold yet. So what the home actually sells for is really what's most important.
Right.
So that's avoid looking at just the active listings. Really look at pending and sold, and a good real estate agent should be able to give you that information. If you guys are just joining us, we are talking about 5 common home selling mistakes to avoid. Jason's got his dog in the background being distracted, not helping me out. We do a radio show called The Real Time Estate, and we're on every Saturday from 9 to 10 on 1260 The Pledge. But what we're going to start doing on a probably every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, is doing a show with or without dogs. And we're going to just share some information because there's so much information out there. And Jason, I appreciate you coming on. If you guys know of anyone considering selling, please share this video with them because we'd love to help them out as well. Tip number 3, I like this one. Don't hire the wrong agent.
That happens a lot.
That's a good one, right?
Well, share your story about that client who went with someone else after they interviewed you, and then they referred their friends after selling back to you.
It was like a year later.
Right.
They had a really bad experience. I met with them. They decided not to list with me for whatever reason, probably because I didn't tell them the price that they wanted to hear, which, I come in and not telling people what they want to hear, but really telling the truth because I believe that's going to get you guys the most money in the long run. And what happened is this person had a really terrible experience, and a year later they were referring their friend to me, even though they never worked with me, saying, hey, you need to work with Luke. We had a terrible experience. We should have gone with Luke. And that's about as good of a referral as I can get.
Right.
And the wrong agent is oftentimes, he's pricing it too high. He's not taking good photos. He's not getting the property staged. So those are all things that we work on with our team, and it's really what separates us from a lot of other agents in the market. And I think the other thing that separates is just the negotiation power. Someone who's great at negotiation can make you thousands of dollars. I've had a lot of clients who, we had different issues or appraisal challenges, and just having the right agent can make a ton of difference. And you probably see that because you work with agents, you work with a lot of different agents, and you have deals that close on time and some that don't you?
Oh, yeah, it happens a lot. And a lot of times the mistakes can be is they're great at negotiation up front about getting that deal, but then the follow through and the paperwork and the professionalism, what else goes into it. There's a lot more to the transaction than getting that accepted purchase agreement or getting that listing. And yet definitely you need to work hand in hand with, a real estate professional as with a mortgage professional to make sure.
I lost you, buddy. Anyways, I lost you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right.
Brian.
I must have covered up the mic with my hand.
Well, maybe your internet's bad. You live out in the sticks, don't you?
I think the problem is my wife said that all 3 of the kids are streaming, so I think that's slowing down my process.
And tip number 4 to avoid when selling your home is don't make it hard to show. This is a hard thing there's times when I list the home. We do a coming soon program. We're all ready. We get on the market, and all of a sudden we get showing requests, and they say, hey, we're not ready yet. And we get agents who are upset, or there are times when there's like a renter in the house, or they have pets, and it just makes it a challenge to show. But in this market, there's buyers who are going out and they're looking at 3 or 4 or 5 homes, and if they can't get into your property that first night, they're moving on that one home that they saw that they liked because they're not they don't want to miss out on that property, even though the home that you have might be great, because they know if they wait even a day, it could be gone, you know?
Oh, I agree. And the thing is, being relatively accessible to get in there. I know it's difficult, but I think one thing I like with your team is, you try to prep them and give them as much notice as possible, but you got to have some leeway there to get in there because, like you said, they might miss out on the one because they didn't feel the house was picked up, or they didn't want to take the dog for a walk around the block to let somebody through.
And to be honest, there's times when my seller is, they're listing the homes on the market, and it might not be as clean as they want. And they say, well, it's really not ready, or we can show it to them tomorrow. And to be honest, I tell them, you might as well get people in there, even if it doesn't show the best, because by tomorrow they're home already. So I'd rather at least get the showing, even if the home doesn't look amazing tonight, than risk the fact of maybe not seeing it at all.
Right. Tip 5. What's bringing us home?
Let's do this. The 5th common home selling mistake to avoid. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Don't hover. Do you know what that means, Jason?
Don't hover. No, Luke. What does that mean?
That means don't stick around the house.
Oh, that's right. I got you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I feel
what about those clients that want to have their hide-a-bear and record conversations?
Well, that happens too, and we're actually informing our clients right now, when you're in a home, to not be as excited as you potentially are, because sellers right now, and I've heard it, some of our own clients, is they have cameras, they're letting people in through the cameras, so who knows what kind of cameras are inside. And I think people are listening in on the conversation. So if you're going crazy about how awesome the house is, you might be hurting your negotiation power. That's more on the buying side. On the selling side, if I ever show a property and the owner's there, it's just an awkward thing. It's hard to be honest and open. Kind of the same with, when the inspection takes place, it's hard for it. If the seller's there, it's hard to really be open with the inspector, because you don't want to offend the seller if there's something wrong with it. So the hover thing, even, a lot of sellers of mine, it's like they're watching across the street. They're in the neighbor's yard, and that can be awkward too, because you're kind of thinking, how long do I want to stay in this? I really liked it, but I feel like people are watching me. So that the hover thing, and I think even as far as staging, I think another subject we can have in maybe a couple of weeks is just talk about staging and some of the things you can do to really get your home ready. But part of the hovering, in my mind, is having your kind of stuff everywhere in the house. So if it's really personalized to you, if your pictures are everywhere, it almost feels like you're hovering even if you're not there.
I'm going mobile.
We gotta prep you next time for this.
I know. I was so excited to figure out how to do it. I'm happy.
We gotta put the kids to bed, and then we'll do a 10 p.m. live call together.
I can do that. I won't have my sweat gear on.
No, that's fine. So those, my friends, were the 5 common home selling mistakes to avoid. I know some of you are just joining. I appreciate that. But we'll post this on our Facebook page. We'll post it on our Luke Bouman team page, probably Jason Jenkins page as well. If you guys can share it with anyone who's considering selling, we'd love to help you guys out. You can reach me anytime at 616-502-8897. Jason, bring it home.
Yes, you can get me at 616-328-6708, or you can email me anytime at jjenkins@unionhomemortgage.com.
Perfect. See you, Jason. Thanks for joining, everybody.
All right.
That's 5 common home selling mistakes to avoid.
See ya.